Okay, I'm going to move that over. All right, so welcome everybody to our February chapter presentation. For those that don't know, my name is Rick Smith. I'm the chapter president for the third year in a row. We're happy you joined us this evening, and we're here to talk about a bunch of things. Here's a quick agenda for tonight's meeting. We're going to do a quick chapter membership update. We're going to talk a little bit about the 2026 Wild Ones grant application. Invasive species of the month is the Asian jumping worm. We have two feature presentations this evening. Designing and planning for small garden spaces, which is going to be given by Susan. PA Winter Natives for Food and Beauty, that is going to be given by me. We're going to talk a little bit about upcoming events and opportunities, and then we have an open discussion sort of at the end of the evening if we have time. So quickly, just chapter membership. We are currently sitting at about 152 active members. We have 3 new members coming from Strasburg, PA, home of the railroad place, right? And Wilmington, Delaware, and Coatesville, Pennsylvania. We are celebrating our 6th year. We've got 3,000 plus native plants in the ground, and we're hoping to get some more this year with not only through our grant program, but through various other programs that we're involved in. So speaking of the 2026 grant program, it is now open and applications are available on our website. I think it is Wild Ones, what is it? Wild One, sepa.wildones.org. The deadline for applications is March 31st of 2026. Applicants must be nonprofit charitable organizations or government entities. We do not fund the purchase of any seeds or plants that have been treated with fungicides, insecticides, or contain neonicotinoid or systemic insecticidal compounds. We will not support the use of any herbicides, insecticides, or pesticides on the project site for preparation or for post-installation maintenance. We like to keep things organic and as close to nature as possible. You see in a picture is one of our previous grant recipients, which is Bondsville Park. They were the recipient of a grant in 2024, and there is discussion and organization to try and get us to have a possible meetup there this year in June. We're looking at a possible Friday evening get together because it's sort of the summer and it'll be late enough for us to get around. We're looking and trying to see if we can get a hold of the folks at Bondsville that were the grant recipients and that ran the program to walk us through some of what was done with the grant money we were provided. Invasive species of the month is the Asian jumping worm. Amantheus species, Amantheus genus, with various species available. I don't know if anybody has any experience with Asian jumping worms. They are starting to show up in our area. They're pretty readily identifiable. The identification is done specifically through the body band, which is grayish white or pink. It's very flush with the worm's body, as opposed to the night crawlers found in soils which have sort of a raised patellum, which is that white band. So when they are found, they usually live close to the surface, and when uncovered, they thrash violently when disturbed. The castings are uniform and granular, and they look like coffee grounds. So there's a good picture of sort of what the castings look like. It has a huge effect on native habitat. The Asian jumping worms consume fallen leaves and other organic material at twice the rate of European earthworms, literally eating up resources that could sustain lower consumers. The castings of Asian jumping worms do not reincorporate into the soil, so they lock up the nutrients, making them unavailable to plants. In areas of heavy infestation, soil nutrients can be washed away by heavy rains, providing an opportunity for aggressive, non-invasive plants to move in. Asian jumping worms are annual species. Adults are killed by frost. Cocoons can survive through winter and hatch in the next spring. Any treatment is recommended to be applied for 2 consecutive years. They are parthenogenic and they are capable of asexual reproduction. So one worm can become many very easily. there's not great treatment for them. Right now, it's usually through manual removal. They say treat soil with tea tree meal or dry mustard, a third of a cup per gallon of water. That will cause them to wiggle and worm to rise to the surface. Once they appear on the surface, remove them by hand. You can spread a layer of diatomaceous earth on top of each layer of soil, and it will cause gradual dehydration through just the cutting action of the DE. With that, I kind of blew through that kind of quickly, but I did want to save time. Susan, I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting here at this point. Stop
Okay.
sharing here. And I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, to start sharing your screen.
Yeah, I will do that. Let's get why are there two? Oh, who
Because
knows?
one's probably your presenter view.
I didn't know. Let's start the slideshow. And I'm going to plug in a microphone to see, just check and make sure.
We lost your audio, Susan.
All right. Okay, are you hearing me now?
I hear you now, yes.
Okay, great. I think the ears just switched over on the laptop.
Yep.
I just thought that'd be a little bit better for the long presentation.
Nope, sounds
Okay.
great.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to our short presentation on designing and planting for small garden spaces. So not all gardens have the space for a lot of tall trees or even a pocket meadow or a prairie. Smaller gardens have different design requirements, and you can also use these recommendations to design a small space on a larger property, for example, a courtyard or a patio area. This presentation will show you some basic tools that can be used in small gardens, especially those in villages and suburban yards where they'll be visible to neighbors. Good design is especially important here. Ben Vogt has a great quote, which is, "Just letting plants ramble about, get tall, flop onto the sidewalks, and appear totally disheveled and out of control while blocking sightlines is a detriment to what we hope to achieve by encouraging neighbors to rethink lawn monocultures." So, designing in layers is a basic tenet of all garden design, and it applies to small garden spaces as well. The difference is that in a small space, there might be only one structural element, and it might be a small tree or even a multi-stem large shrub, something that grows no taller than 15 to 25 feet. No matter how small it is, the structural element should stand above the other layers. The middle layer provides most of the seasonal color and form. In a small space, try to have at least two species with flowers, fruits, or colorful leaves in each season. The ground cover layer might be the most important because it knits the bed together and provides living mulch in between the other plants, so that once the plants are established, no mulch should be needed. Here's a design for a garden bed at the corner of a property with sidewalk on two sides. Can everybody see that with the presenter's box? My presenter's box is in the way. You might want to move your presenter's box so you can see the whole design.
We
So
don't
this,
need a presenter's box. You're doing great.
okay,
Yep.
thank you. The straight sides of this curved triangle follow the sidewalk, but there is no reason that third side needs to be a straight line. Curves are graceful and they allow for more planting area. The structural element in this design is a small tree. Here it's a redbud, which attracts orioles in the spring, but it could be a red buckeye, a gray dogwood, or any small tree or large shrub that can be pruned to control the height. You can prune a lot of small trees and larger shrubs to either single stem or multi-stem. Single stem might usually be taller, whereas multi-stem will fill more of the planting area on the ground. Notice that the tree is not planted in the center of the bed because it would be too close to the sidewalk as it matures. Planting the tree closer to the lawn gives this gardener an excuse to expand the bed into the lawn as the tree grows. Alternatives to a tree are multi-stem shrubs that top out below 20 feet, such as winterberry holly, witch hazel, spice bush, and red twig dogwood. If a bed is too small for even one plant this size, use a low-growing shrub like beautyberry or a woody perennial like aromatic sumac as the structural element. The direction of the sun is shown to determine the choice of plants for seasonal interest. As the tree matures, it will cast a wider circle of shade during the growing season. Penstemon, blue lobelia, great blue lobelia, and blue stem or golden fleece goldenrod grow happily in part shade and don't flop. Outside the circle of the shade cast by the tree, the butterfly weed and the red sage in the lower left corner are sun lovers. I've found that butterfly weed likes to have plants around its feet to grow up through, so you can allow those sedges to spread freely in that area. Red sage is an airy structural plant that provides height without blocking the plants behind it. Notice that nothing with fragile roots is planted right next to the sidewalks because this area can be impacted by winter shoveling and pedestrian traffic. The ground cover layer also provides four-season interest. Phlox stolonifera will happily cover the ground under the tree and will appreciate the shade in summer. Phlox subulata, on the other hand, needs full sun in spring to flower, which is why it's planted outside the tree's shade at the corner of the bed. The leaves of both these phloxes remain green through most of the winter. Prostrate heath aster is planted in a sunny corner at the top. Use sedges with different textures, everything from Pennsylvanica, Appalachica, Eburna, woodii, radiata, or whatever suits the soil and moisture between these clumps of plants to provide textural contrast and to cover any bare ground. The phloxes, penstemon, and heath aster are also enthusiastic spreaders, and they'll cover a lot of ground as well. So with this design, there should be something going on all year long. Smaller spaces can still incorporate trees. Slower growing understory trees like fringe tree are useful here. There's our fringe. Multi-stem trees like gray dogwood and redbud can be kept shorter by removing the tallest trunk when it reaches your maximum desired height. This bed is along the side and the back corner of a small house. It's no deeper than 15 feet, but includes the fringe tree, witch hazel, smoke tree, red buckeye, and a gray dogwood on the corner. The bed was planted in 2020. When we removed the two huge winged euonymus shrubs that had taken over this space, the neighbor warned us that we would miss the privacy. Here's the bed in the fall of 2024, just 4 years later. Privacy restored, along with the porch side seat to watch the hummingbirds on the monarda that blooms all summer behind the witch hazel. So this is how it looked when it was planted. Here it is 4 years later. One way to communicate that your plantings are intentional and not just plants gone wild is to use signals that people understand. We're all familiar with drawing lines around things, so whether your garden is square, circular, or a random shape, you can use edging to define the line between your garden beds and your lawn, sidewalk, or driveway. If you're working toward replacing your lawn with native plantings, the lawn can be reduced to paths between your beds. This reassures the neighbors that you still have some lawn, however minimal. If you're going for respectability, use more formal edging material like bricks or landscape pavers. For more informal areas, you can use rocks or thick tree branches. Another way to signal that your plants are part of a design is to use a focal point. An arbor or section of a fence is a great frame for climbing plants, as well as plantings around the base. Bold textures plants can also serve as focal points. Bird baths, sculptures, and benches are all good options. Planting in groups helps to show off the plant's distinctive features and is also more attractive to pollinators. In a larger planting area like a meadow or a prairie, the effect is of intermingled plants that create a vista intended to be viewed at a longer distance. Smaller plantings can't really carry off this drift effect because they're usually viewed closer up. So planting in groups allows the eye to distinguish the different colors, textures, and sizes when viewed up close. When plantings are viewed up close, it's good to include different textures and sizes of leaves and flowers. One or two clumps with dramatic flowers, color, or height can make the whole planting pop. If people like what they see, they'll be less likely to find fault with it and may even become supporters of native gardening. I've seen people on the sidewalk stop and take photos of a native garden and even ask the gardener to share seeds. You might think cup plant is too large for a small planting, but one clump, well supported of course because it does tend to lean, of these huge leaves and dramatic gold flowers can really draw attention. Cup plant also attracts birds and insects that sip water caught in the large leaves. In the fall, goldfinch will hang off their seed heads as they search for food. Rose mallow needs wetter soil, but if you have it, this plant is a drama queen with huge colorful flowers all summer. It can get tall to 6 feet, but you can cut it back in June for a shorter, bushier plant. Little blue stem is more often used en masse in prairie plantings, but the blue-tinged blades and the fluffy tan flowers on one plant in a sunny bed will stand out well, and at 2 to 3 feet tall, it doesn't overwhelm the other plants. The unique flower spikes of blue or yellow false indigo are a great look in spring, and the stems remain erect through the season and sport interesting dark seed pods over the winter. Joe Pye is undoubtedly a statement plant with those huge whorled leaves and the big puffs of pink to lavender flowers that attract lots of pollinators. Goat's beard's feathery white plumes on 4-foot-tall plants are very distinctive in summer. The next two slides are a couple of examples of planted small beds. Here's a sidewalk bed in summer. It's very narrow, less than 3 feet deep, so smaller plants were used, and the textures are smaller as well. You can see sedge, threadleaf coreopsis on the right, gaillardia, golden fleece goldenrod in the middle, downy woodmint in front of that, and penstemon on the left with those red leaves. The focal point is an aromatic sumac, which is behind the penstemon. It has a woodier texture than the rest of the perennials, plus that dramatic fall color. Here's a different part of another sidewalk bed on the yard, on the house side of the front yard. Shows a nice juxtaposition of textures and colors from the goldenrod, golden fleece, and aromatic aster. Here's a great comment about native plantings from Kim Eierman at Eco Beneficial. How do you communicate to your neighbors why you have little or no lawn, why you have a whole bunch of native plants, why your trees are not topped, why your shrubs are not pruned into meatballs, why you don't rake your leaves out of your flower beds, and why you leave your perennials and grasses standing all winter long? Sometimes neighbors are confused by our landscapes that are filled with diverse native plants that we allow to grow in their natural states. It can be particularly challenging when our yard looks completely different from the others in the neighborhood. When we garden in publicly visible areas, whether they're in suburban front yards or along village streets, we have an opportunity to educate and inspire with signage that explains what we're doing and why. If neighbors know what we're doing with our space and what to expect, they might be less likely to find an issue with it, even if it runs counter to their desire for a perfectly mowed and clipped turf grass lawn. A few guidelines for plant selection can help you create beautiful wildlife-friendly gardens in small areas. Limit your species palette. Resist the temptation to plant one of as many plants as possible. In a small area, this can look disorganized and messy. The smaller the space, the shorter the species list. For a 10 by 10 area, you might have one structural plant, 4 or 5 in the second layer, and another 3 or 4 species in the ground cover layer, depending on your soil and moisture conditions. Choose clump-forming plants, not spreaders or self-seeders. Except for your ground cover layer, you want your plants to stay roughly where you plant them. Plant clump-forming plants on 1-foot centers. Space the spreaders according to their mature size. Use sedges to fill any gaps until full ground coverage is achieved. And finally, limit the height of everything except your structural plant to 1/3 of the longest side of the bed. Site your taller plants toward the center of the bed and the lowest growers at the edges. Keep species that tend to flop away from the edges of the beds. Here are a couple of resources, plant recommendations, and designs for small garden spaces. This will be in the presentation, which we'll post on the website, so you don't need to copy these down now. And that's all I have. Thank you for watching. And I don't know if we have time, Rick, but we can talk about, or we can leave questions to the end if you prefer. Rick, you're muted. There you go.
We have a couple minutes. Why don't we? I didn't see anything in the chat. I was monitoring the chat, and nothing
Oh,
has
okay.
popped up. And I think we have a small enough group that we can take a couple questions while we get ready to switch back to the next presentation. So, does anybody have any questions for Susan?
Okay, that was easy.
Oh,
there's
there we go.
something. How do I keep goldenrod from taking over? You choose your goldenrod. So you might be familiar with Canada or gigantic goldenrod, giantissima maybe. Those are too aggressive. Golden fleece, which is Sphacelata, Solidaga sphacelata, is a clump former. It will spread very slowly, and it doesn't seed itself, and it doesn't send out those crazy rhizomes that pop up everywhere. Blue stem goldenrod is very contained. It spreads really slowly. Zigzag goldenrod is a slow spreader. In other words, look up your solidagos. In fact, Mount Cuba just did a goldenrod trial. You can look that up online. It's fantastic, and it will tell you which of the goldenrods are clump formers, which are more contained, and which are the crazy spreaders that are great for meadows, but not for a small garden.
Great.
That should
So
fix
much
the
good
goldenrods.
information, Susan. I really appreciate your presentation. I always learn so much whenever you talk.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
Susan,
do
I
we
had
have any?
one
Go ahead,
clarification
Jess.
question. I
Yeah.
think your last slide had talked about limiting the height of your structural plant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you said 1/3 the longest side. Is that right?
That's the guideline. Guidelines are made to be broken if you want to.
Well, I was just curious. I think your slides, the print said 2/3. Um,
Oh,
so I just wasn't sure which is the guideline to try and go for.
my narrative says 1/3, so you might have picked up a typo, Jesse. Thank you. I'll check the
Oh, no
slide on the
problem.
master, and before I post it, I'll make sure that's right. That's a proportion things.
Yeah,
I
one
don't
third
know if
makes
it's
sense, I think, visually,
yeah,
if you're trying to keep the space contained. Um, but
right.
yeah,
So
I
in
just
other
wasn't
words,
sure
on a
which
oh
one.
no, thank you for noticing that. So on a 10-foot long bed, which that triangle bed was, you would
Hmm.
have roughly a 1/3, 3 feet would be the maximum height of
Okay,
everybody except your structural. So I think,
got
like you said, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
thank you so much. I'll check the slide and make sure that
Yeah,
it's right before it's posted.
that was lots of great info. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
Susan, which was
fantastic.
the roost that you mentioned?
Oh, Rus aromatica, aromatic
Yeah.
sumac. That's the one that's low and just spreads. I swear it spreads 5 feet. It is a monster. It spreads a lot faster in wet soil. So another way to control your plants is to plant them a little bit outside what they need. So if you have a Rus aromatica in a drier soil, it will not spread like crazy. Whereas I've got one in upstate New York in really nice soil I would die for, moist, rich, and the thing is 5 feet square. So a lot does depend on your soil, but it's the standard aromatic sumac. There's a cultivar called Growlow, which is no higher than 2 feet, and the species probably gets 3 to 4 feet high. So not high at all.
Pollinators love it.
Do they? Okay.
And
And
the
those
deer,
flowers are tiny.
They are, but pollinators love it.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
I've got the straight species in my garden, and the deer haven't discovered it, so I think it's okay. Do you have any deer problems with the
I don't,
sumacs?
and I'm the test garden for deer. They
You
leave that stuff alone.
you
It's
I think it's
certainly
wonderful.
the
are.
aromatic part. They don't prefer
Right.
the scent of it.
Could also be the sap. Those things are sappy. They say, to make sure you wear gloves and don't get the sap on your hands when you prune them. And that could be some of it too. Because they
Right.
eat other sumacs, right? Typhina, what are the ones you have, Jesse? They eat those to the ground over here.
Oh, really? The smooth, right? That's just what you have, the smooth sumac.
What are your real tall sumacs, Jesse, that
I
you have?
have staghorn that are my taller, and then I
Hmm.
have smooth and winged that are still 10, 12 feet, but they're not as tall as the staghorn.
Yeah, the deer attack those. In fact, they rub them. Even if I protect the trunks with tubes, which I do, I find the tubes destroyed by bugs.
Um,
They push the tube up the trunk because the trunk is straight, with no
mhm,
branches, shove it
right.
right up and rub the bark off. They're awful.
Mm.
I am so glad I don't live in Susan's neighborhood. I mean, I've
I
got like at
know.
least a dozen deer. Um, we talked about deer fence, and that's probably maybe something for another conversation. And maybe we talked about somebody doing a garden tour with somebody that has some deer fence up to see what the
Oh,
impact that deer have. I think that might be
yeah.
a good outside event for us.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would be novel for me because I've never seen it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
also
I
think,
don't.
Susan, you must have the only native plants within like 10 miles because the deer come to you specifically to eat the good stuff, because nobody else has given them anything, apparently.
That's part of it. I'm also between a cornfield and an old wood.
Yeah.
So they just run right down my driveway, right across my yard, hop the road, and they're in 30 acres. So
Mm.
that's definitely do
Yeah.
not ever buy a house on the track of deer, which I apparently did.
Well, if anybody else is last call for questions for Susan, I'm sure we'll have some time this when I'm finished mine and at the end of the day. But if anybody has any pressing questions, I think we can take probably one more.
There's something in the chat. Nope. Nope. I
Oh,
say
okay.
go for it, Rick.
All right. Some of this information might be rehashed, so I apologize. Um, I took this picture outside my office probably last week. We were still in the thick of things, and I think it's sort of indicative of what everybody had in their backyard for the past probably 3 weeks. And I think this picture sort of really shows sort of the importance of native plants in what really became sort of a white food desert for the birds that are overwintering. It was so cold, I didn't even see a lot of small mammal activity. I didn't see my squirrels. I didn't see rabbits. I didn't even see deer. Um, Now that things are starting to warm up, I am seeing deer. Deer are kind of coming back and eating whatever they can get a hold of, things that they don't even normally eat. I see nibbled on. Some things are eaten right to the ground. I see a lot of my violet bulbs have just disappeared. I don't know if that is squirrels or um, other small mammals, possibly the deer. But I think it's sort of important that it speaks to how important our native plants are in this time of the year where there's nothing else available to the wildlife for feeding. So I wanted to give this talk about PA native wildlife plants for winter interest. And I wanted to make the primary consideration for the talk and the plants that I presented sort of food and habitat with a focus on keystone species indicative and native to our area. I did give some sort of secondary consideration on how it looks in winter, and then sort of tertiary consideration on what I could get pictures of and what I had sort of available to myself. It is by far not a complete list. I kept it to about 25 keystone plants just because I didn't want it to run into a second hour for a presentation. I think I can probably get through this in about another 30 minutes if everybody's willing to hang out there with me. We should wrap up around 8 o'clock, and that should give us some time to just kind of go through upcoming events, and we should have you getting ready for your PJs by 8:30. So just to rehash, I'm sure most of the people on this call already are aware what keystone species are, but it's always good to kind of reconfirm. Keystone plant genera are unique to local food webs within ecoregions. To remove a keystone plant, the diversity and abundance of many essential insects, which 95% of terrestrial birds rely on for food sources, would be diminished. The ecosystem typically collapses in a similar way that the removal of a keystone in an ancient Roman arch would trigger its demise. Most often, we determine the keystone species, plant species, we judge more often by the Lepidoptera species that they support. So it's really the number of caterpillars is a really good indicator of how important that tree is to the downsides of the food chain. Winter value, beyond flowers, we focus on barks, seeds, berries that are persistent berries, and we also focus a little bit on structure here for this talk. Before we talk about the species, I just want to kind of give a prequel. Prior to we think about winter interest in the fall. The best time to plant winter trees is the fall. The best time to plant most trees are in the falls because of the cool weather. They take easier. They tend to transplant easier. I recommend doing less in the fall. I mean, I don't rake the leaves. I leave the seed heads. I don't cut back most of my plants. I don't cut back most of the stems. Occasionally, I will clean up my walkways, but that's about it. If we leave the leaves to protect overwintering insects like this little dusky skipper butterfly, this guy tucks his larvae into tent tubes at the base of native grasses. So he's probably my poster child for the native species and leaving your stems whole. Just about every single keystone plant species starts off with oak. It is sort of the top performer in terms of caterpillar supported. It's got 518 species of Lepidoptera supported. It has marcescent foliage, so that means the leaves remain throughout most of the winter. It's got great texture and sound to those leaves in the winter when they blow. It loves full sun. It avoids wet soil, and it's a grower. It needs significant space. It is in the 50 to 80 foot high range with a significant spread. Second is one that kind of comes across, and they pop up in my yard all the time. I used to think of them as nuisance trees until I realized that, black cherry supports 456 species of caterpillars. They are the summer fruit is a wildlife magnet. Its winter value lies in the fact that it's got this sort of burnt cornflake bark. I've heard it described as potato chip like bark. It provides great hiding spots for small insects, which become protein sources for overwintering birds like nuthatches and woodpeckers, and it's incredibly adaptable to our varying pH soils. One of my favorites is this river birch. For those with wetter soil, river birch is a standout. Its peeling salmon and cinnamon bark isn't just beautiful, it's a structural playground for wildlife. In late winter, birds and squirrels even feed on the male catkins as they begin to swell. It is a significant tree species, however. It does, grow 40 to 70 feet high, and it's got a 40 to 60 foot spread. Its winter features these dramatic peeling barks, which peel off in layers. It thrives in full sun to part shade, and it likes wet clays and wet conditions. Shagbark hickory. This is probably, I don't know that I've ever seen this in anyone's backyard, but I used to spend quite a bit of time up in the Poconos, and I would come across this in the Pocono Mountains quite a bit. It is a beautiful tree. It's rugged individualist of the woods. The dramatic vertical bark plates aren't just for show. They create deep shadows and provide roosting spots for small bats and insects. It's a slow grower, but it supports 233 species of caterpillars, making it worth the wait. It likes full sun, it has a deep taproot, and it prefers rich, well-drained soils. It grows to be 40 to 8 or 60 to 80 feet high with a 40 to 60 foot spread. American sycamore. This is a beauty. This time of year, this plant really stands out for me. I call it the ghosts of the creek, right? So it is a ghostly silhouette against a winter sky thanks to its bone white upper bark. It's a fast growing giant that provides massive nesting cavities as it ages. I happened to be at the dentist the other day, and this photo on the left was right outside the window of my dentist's office. And it's tough to see, but the tree had these horizontal branches that had broken off, and then you can see it sprouted through here. The branches had broken off through here, and then new branches had picked up. So it has this very like stair step pattern of branching. It was just amazing. And it was probably 12 foot wide at the base. And it's right at the Plymouth Kilns. If anybody knows where Germantown Pike meets Butler Pike, there were historic Revolutionary War kilns there. And this happened, this big American sycamore that probably is 150 feet tall, probably 100 years old, sits right on top of it. It's really impressive. A picture from my backyard, this eastern red cedar tree. It's year-round green. It's evergreen, the workhorse that provides essential thermal cover during PA's coldest nights. Its berries, those little modified cones, are a vital fat source for cedar waxwings and robins. And I can tell you the birds were all over this female red cedar most of this season, especially when it was cold and there was really nothing else available to the birds. Um, I haven't taken down my bird feeders for bird flu concerns, but I did broadcast seed in this area. So this area was pretty much covered in birds just trying to survive the past couple weeks. It's a great tree, grows 30 to 50 feet in height and spreads 8 to 20 feet. It really is pretty narrow. It supports 30 species of butterflies. It likes full sun, it's highly drought tolerant, and tough as nails. Another one that always hits the winter interest list is the winterberry holly. It is a 6 to 10 foot high and spread shrub. It supports 34 different species of cats. Its winter feature is these vibrant red berries clustered on bare stems. It likes full sun to part shade and prefers moist and acidic soils. This picture is from my third year winterberry. Finally getting some significant berry production on it this fall. You can see the bottom picture is what few berries actually remain on this tree. So I think that the berries themselves aren't the first choice of food for birds in the fall. They need to freeze and thaw a couple times to become softened and I think less astringent for the birds to actually consume or find interest in. But I can tell you right now, I could walk out to that winterberry and there's nothing on that winterberry. I'm sure it has been stripped. As I would imagine most of the American hollies that are in my back. American Holly was a runner-up, didn't make the list, but I know that Jessie has some real good luck with her American Hollies. I have some real good luck with mine as well. One that always pops up on the winter interest list is the red osier dogwood. It's a neon sign for your winter garden. Those blood red stems are their brightest in full sun. It supports 118 species of caterpillars, proving it can be pretty and productive. Red is the most vibrant in the newer stems. It's recommended that a quarter to a third of the old stems are pruned prior to budding in the spring. If anyone is interested in live stakes for this, I will be cutting mine probably in late March, early April. And I will be taking out about a third of these stems, which I can put in a bucket or put into a tree tube with some soil. If anybody is interested in some red stem dogwoods for the next year, I can tell you these red twigs. I've done presentations on these red twigs, and they have been literally mowed to the ground by the township and have recovered. And this is probably a 3-year recovery. They look pretty good. This is a picture from Jessie's backyard. So this is her staghorn sumac. It's a great sort of understory tree. Doesn't get terribly tall. It's 15 to 25 foot tall. It is taller amongst the sumacs. Probably the tallest of the sumacs. There are other shorter sumacs. It supports 52 different varieties of caterpillars. Its winter feature are these red velvety seed bobs that have architectural branching. It survives in dry, poor, or rocky soils. These seed heads provide emergency winter food for over 300 species of songbirds and game birds like wild turkey. Perfect choice for a difficult slope that you've been ignoring. They pretty much will grow in any kind of poor soils. Jessie, what is your experience with staghorn?
I don't have poor soil, so they love it here. They go gangbusters.
Really?
I planted 2, and now I have a little forest of them. They're fantastic. Birds are in them all year, especially the migrating birds coming back through now. They're on the cones that I have left.
Nice.
They
Okay.
do, they deal well with poor soil. And I've had a lot of success with them, and the birds love them.
Yeah, they are really good stabilizers if you have a bit of a slope or just any type of runoff you're trying to mitigate to keep your soil in place, because they will cover a lot of ground. They don't need a lot to be successful, and they want to make a colony, so they're going to spread for you even if you only put 1 or 2 in.
Also from Jessie's backyard, pictures of the American witch hazel. The witch hazel is a plant for people who hate plants when winter starts. It blooms its fragrant yellow flowers in early winter, just as everything else is going to sleep. It prefers organic, rich soil and a bit of afternoon shade. It gets to be about 15 to 20 feet high and spread. It supports 62 species of caterpillars. Its winter feature is its fragrant yellow ribbon flowers, which bloom in early winter. It prefers part shade, prefers organic, rich, moist soil. Jessie, this is one of your favorites, isn't it? Mine too. Actually, I've got 2 that haven't yet flowered. They're on their second or third year. I'm hoping to get them to flower this winter, this
It's
next
coming.
winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one that hits a list mostly because it's got great fall color and it's got persistent berries is Black Hall Viburnum prunifolium. It's a 12 to 15 foot high shrub, so it gets some height. It's 6 to 12 foot in spread. It supports 104 species of caterpillars. Its winter feature is its blocky alligator bark and persistent dull fruit. The fall colors are pretty exemplary in that photo. You can see they can go from orange red to a purple color. It's got persistent fruit. It turns red fruit. It prefers full sun and deep shade, drought tolerant once established. I have two. The deer don't seem to be too fond of it. They do nibble at it from time to time. Mine do not fruit yet, but they're fairly young. I didn't know if anybody knew, and you'll see a question mark next to dioecious. I believe that you need a male and female to get berries. Is that correct, Jesse?
Mhm.
You do, yeah. I have male and female. My berries don't last long. I think that my catbirds really like them, so they take the berries fairly quickly. But I do have them in pretty shady conditions, and they actually hold their own space against the staghorn sumacs. They are kind of an understory that I use under the staghorns.
Nice, nice. Like I said, I planted two a year apart, and I don't know if I have two males or two females, but I'm not getting any kind of fruit yet. They're also fairly young.
I think
Um,
they're all happier when there's more than one.
okay. Well, that just gives
And
me more
and
reason.
I was also online. It said they're not dioecious, but I don't know about that.
Okay, that just gives me more reason to buy more black hole viburnums. Another one that hits a list, and it's primarily for its bark, is the nine bark, Physocarpus opulifolius. It's a little bit smaller than the last plant we discussed. It's 5 to 8 feet. It is a 4 to 6 foot spread. It gets its name from its exfoliating bark that peels away to reveal multiple layers of tan and brown. It's a tough shrub for PA clays, supports 41 species of caterpillar. It likes full sun to part shade, extremely tough in PA clays. Um, yeah, I have one. It's not doing much. I think I might have to try some different. Um, I'm not sure. I think it needs a different location, so I think I am going to get a couple more. There are a ton of cultivars of nine bark. You can get it just about every color of the rainbow. I'm sort of a purist, so I tend to go for straight species. But if cultivars are your thing, there are plenty of them. You can get.
If nine bark is happy where you put it will give you lots of babies. It took a couple of years, but mine now puts babies out further than I would anticipate. So it can keep on giving.
Do you have it in a dry portion of the yard, Jess?
I have it. I don't have a lot of dry area. It's it's average, I would say. It's not like super moist, but it's fairly shaded and it still puts babies out.
Okay.
I think it
Um,
needs rich soil, Rick, and I think you have some nice soil in parts of your yard,
I
maybe in front of your holly collection.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's got to go. I have it sort of
Hmm.
closer to the front of the road, and it's a lot more sandy. I don't think there's enough moisture in there. I don't think it holds on to enough moisture for it to thrive.
Agreed. Yep. I think they need rich soil that
Okay.
doesn't dry out. Yeah.
Another plant that always hits the list is the red chokeberry. The red chokeberry is an upright, tiny shrub with glossy red berries that stick around long after the leaves are gone. It's got persistent berries and it's great for smaller yards. Again, it really kind of handles wet better than most things. It likes wet feet. It's 6 to 10 feet in height with a 3 to 5 foot spread. It's got a vase-shaped form, and its suckers can form colonies. It supports 29 different species of caterpillar, and it likes full sun to part shade. handles wet feet well. Persistent berries. I mean, I've seen berries on red chokeberry through probably just about now. I would imagine that things are pretty slim on the chokeberries.
Yeah.
Mine don't look like this yet. I never get these kind of berries on my chokeberry, but hopefully someday.
Richard, do you have any thoughts about pruning to keep in size or
Well,
any thoughts?
when are you leaving?
I don't. Does anybody else have any kind of
Are
comment
you going
experience with
together?
pruning chokeberries?
Oh, all right.
I just was thinking about size wise, but that 10 feet isn't all that tall, so
No, it's really not.
okay.
And they're
I have
fairly
babies, so I
narrow.
don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah. They're fairly narrow too, so they're a nice smaller plant.
Great,
So
beautiful fall
this
color.
this presentation was sort of set up in layers like Susan had recommended, right? So we went through trees, we went sort of understory trees and some smaller shrubs. And now we're moving on to like the herbaceous layers. One that always hits the mark is the showy goldenrod, the Solidago speciosa. Our floor goldenrods are the super keystones of the perennial world. The showy goldenrod stays rigid and upright through heavy snow, providing a beautiful winter silhouette while feeding 115 species of caterpillars. I didn't have any in my backyard, but here's some great pictures that I stole from other people. The Prairie Nursery had some great photos also with winter interest. This like rigid goldenrod kind of withholds and stands up to snow. So it provides a good food source for birds even after the snow. It tends not to get laid down. Smooth blue asters, another stand-up plant, literally have very tough stems, so they don't tend to lean over. Resist flopping in the snow and provides essential seeds for late season birds. It is a must-have for any drought-tolerant meadow. Size is 2 to 4 feet in height with 1 to 2 foot spread. Supports 109 species of caterpillar. Um, it likes full sun and is very drought tolerant. Little blue stem is a native grass. It's got the color of winter sunset, glowing copper red stems in the winter, fluffy seed heads. Just avoid the fertilizer. This grass prefers to live and learn. So there's a great photo on the right by Susan of her little blue stem here in the winter.
Roy,
And then Denise, who I don't think is on this meeting, had provided me with a great picture of split beard blue stem, which is not native to our area, but I just love the picture so much that I had to include it. But blue stem, when it seeds, looks very much like this, with just more seed heads sort of coming out of the side. It likes full sun, dry to average soils. Supports 6 species of caterpillar, but there's also a variety of other insects that use it for nesting and habitat. Joe Pyeweed. For architectural height, you can't beat Joe Pyeweed. In midsummer, the tall compound flower heads are covered in vanilla-scented dull pink flowers. Very attractive, but butterflies, those large puffy dried heads catch the frost beautifully and serve as a landmark in the winter garden. Its size goes anywhere from 4 to 7 feet. It's got a spread of 2 to 4 feet. Supports 41 different species of caterpillars. It likes full sun to part shade, prefers moist to wet soil. There's a great picture on the right from Denise of Joe Pyeweed kind of growing in the wild. There's some great pictures on the left of Joe Pye's seed heads covered in frost and snow. Another slide, actually, Marilyn, who is on our board, sent me some photos today. Has a great picture of a monarch sitting on top of Joe Pyeweed, both close up and from a distance. Thank you, Marilyn. Black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckia fulgidia. Great seed cones, right? Becomes sort of an architectural, it's dark seed, sculptural seed cones of the black-eyed Susan provide a rhythmic visual contrast against the snow. It's one of the most reliable perennials we have in PA. It's got a 2 foot high, 2 to 3 foot height and spread. Supports 18 different species of caterpillars. Its dark structural seed provide visual rhythm. Conditions: full sun, highly adaptable, reliably perennial. One that's included in just about everybody's list is the purple coneflower, Echinacea purpurea. It's 2 to 4 feet in height, a 1.5 to 2 foot spread. It supports 10 different species of Lepidoptera. Its prickly seed heads add strong vertical interest through winter. Conditions: full sun to part shade, well-drained soil. There's another picture, I think. What is that, a fritillary caterpillar on that from Susan? This was also from Maryland. This little guy here. And this is that close-up of the remaining coneflower seed heads that haven't been picked apart yet this winter. That was also in the first photo that I started the presentation with. So sort of coming full circle, couple sedges. We talked about sedges. Carex albicans, the oak sedge, is a great
Let me forget the trash.
semi-evergreen mop top
You still
sedge.
doing your thing?
I need to mute somebody, but I don't have the. All right. Finally, oak sedge, semi-evergreen, soft mop top that makes the perfect ground cover under our mighty oaks. It's cozy comfort that finishes the room. It's got a 1 foot height and spread. Supports 36 different species of caterpillar. It likes shade to part shade. Is perfect ground cover for oaks. Couple just sort of, they didn't get their own slides, but I did want to kind of mention, sort of honorable mention for evergreen, semi-evergreen ground covers. There were quite a few of them that I came across. Partridgeberry, Carolina wild pink, Allegheny spurge, ragwort, coral bells, beard tongue, just the basal rosettes of the beard tongue. That's really it. Do I have any questions? That is the last slide in my presentation.
I have some ragwort coming up right now. I mean, I can see if you want green, it's there. It's amazing.
I had some that kind of popped up. Oh, Denise is here. Hi, Denise. That popped up underneath the snow and then it disappeared. I think the deer, even though they don't tend to like it, I think gave it a shot this year and they were just so hungry when the snow melted.
Yeah, they generally do not eat it,
Yeah.
except for Susan.
No, I agree, they don't.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I can rely on Paccara, penstemon, sedges, like you said, Rick. As the snow melts, it's amazing what's still green. It's really nice that there is green out there, and the
Yeah.
sedges.
And I desperately want to see green this time of year.
I know. It's got to be somewhere, right?
So good, Susan. It seems like we almost planned it this way. We said we wanted to be finished the 2 presentations by 8 o'clock. So I think we're right on schedule.
Well done.
Man,
Okay.
like we planned it that way.
Like we planned it. Let's
Like
pretend we did.
it.
We did.
So upcoming next month, we don't have a presentation, but we are doing a virtual screening of The Extraordinary Caterpillar. I think we have a date set for that of March 10th at 7 p.m. I have the link. We will send out, I guess, members will send out the link to members, and we will kind of do what we normally do and open it up to non-members with a request to the link. There's a couple other things going on that we could be made aware of. You don't need to copy this information furiously. It always is included in the newsletter. Some of the things coming up that I plan on attending. I'm going to help out on March 1st with Andrew the Arborist on his invasive removal here at the Harriet Weatherhill Park in Plymouth Meeting. That is on a Sunday at 1 p.m. National has a webinar, Rethinking Horticulture with Real Ecology, presented by Joey Santori on March 18th that I will be attending. And then, again, all this information will be provided in the website or in the newsletter as well. So with that, I think I'm good. That everything I wanted to cover. We can certainly have open discussion We did send out a membership. Let me stop here. And we did send out a survey. So I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to go through the survey. We can talk about that. We can talk about any kind of anything we discussed in the meeting. I like to take this last half hour, 15 minutes to just sort of have open conversation amongst the group. So does anybody have anything they want to share? Cool. All right. Well, then let's talk about the survey a little bit. Let me see if I can. You guys have see the screen? I'm sharing my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Let me hear.
Whoops. And it just appeared.
I just disappeared it, right?
You did. Okay.
All right.
There it is.
So, like I said, 26 responses out of the 150 members that we sent it to. That's not a super rich response, but it's sizable, and I think it's representative. One of the questions that I asked was, do you have suggestions for presentations or topics you'd like to see? And I saw some great answers, and I think we've started taking this into consideration for fall presentations. So there was a suggestion for integrated pest management, mass plantings, homeowners, HOAs, which I think we have touched on in the past, but we could certainly devote a presentation to it. One of the ones that kind of was very interesting to the board was the companion planting, trees, ground cover, shrubs, native grasses, and the microforest. So I think Jesse and I committed to doing a presentation in the fall on microforest with me presenting the concept and her showing her real world microforest in her backyard, right? Native planting design, small scale grasslands. I think it would be interesting to do a conversation or a presentation on soil health and what makes soil healthy. Talk about fungi and tough soil conditions. Basic seasonal task, how to select plants, ways to gradually change lawns to flowers, native flowers, community gardens and educational activism, outreach to renters so they contribute to make contributions, gardening for wildlife, not just for birds, but small mammals, amphibians, all of which were valid suggestions. How would you prefer to meet? So there was sort of a mix. There's about 40% of us that like only Zoom calls. There is also a fair amount that are looking to get some hybrid in-person activities as well. So we hit the 50% mark. We hear you. We're planning more in-person events this year. I think most of summer is actually not webinar events, but rather in-person events, albeit Jenkins, Bondsville, possible garden tours, possible native plant nursery tours if we can get that arranged. So I look forward to getting out and spending some time outdoors with members of the chapter. Types of outdoor person events that most interest you. Good turnout for member garden tours. So again, we hear you and we're looking to get some member garden tours in. Arboretums, again, we're planning on doing Jenkins again this year. We will do a tour at Jenkins Arboretum when the plants shop opens up. Plant sales and seed swaps. I would like to do a seed swap in the fall. Plant sales this year, there's sort of a rub with the sales tax, and National is still working on it. We have always done sort of a pre-order, not necessarily a plant sale specifically through the chapter. If anybody is interested in kind of spearheading that effort, certainly we'd love to have people working on it with us. But I think that this year the plant sale and the pre-order might just get put on hold in the form that it has been in the past until we can work out the sales tax issue and figure out the best way to do it. Personally, myself, I'm a little worried about invasives and like Asian jumping worms and a bunch of other kind of things that happen with plant exchanges. So I feel a little more comfortable sowing seeds and maybe probably having a seed swap in the fall, I think, is the way that that's going to end. And I think that's a good way for everybody to get kind of local genotype seeds inexpensively, if not free. What days work together? Saturday afternoons seem to work best for everybody. There is some Saturday mornings. Weekends seem to be the preference for in-person gatherings. And I certainly understand that. Most of us work. How far are you willing to travel? This was a surprising answer to me. We cover a lot of ground as a chapter. We cover, 5 counties. We have outreach into Lancaster County. We have members in Virginia, North Carolina, Delaware. So we are pretty far out, so it makes in-person events a little tougher. We're spread out, but it looks like, half our members are willing to travel up to 20 miles for an in-person event. So I think that that's a good sign. Would you be interested in planning on site preparation or planning to work on native plant projects? Again, we had about a third of the respondents say that they would definitely be interested, and another 52% said that they could possibly be interested. So there's not a lot of no's, but quite a few yeses and even more maybes. Would you be interested in serving on the chapter board or committee? 26 responses. As somebody that runs the chapter, I would like to see more yeses there, but we got one and we got a couple maybes. So I would encourage that yes, and the couple maybes that are interested in becoming involved, please reach out. We would love to have your support. We would love to have you participate. It's really falls down to like 5 board members, 6 board members to do a lion's share of the work, and many hands make for lighter work. So we certainly encourage anybody to join us. We would love to have you. Some great suggestions for in-person gatherings: nature walk, plant ID walks, sharing native plants with each other, coordinate through Facebook groups if we have one. Someone's yard during good weather, right? So we talked about that as well. Member garden tours. Offer several dates and times as well as surveys afterwards to help you determine what you can offer or improve. I love this suggestion. Now that I figured out Google Forms, I think that we'll definitely be using surveys more moving forward. It wasn't that challenging, and I kind of liked the results. Bondsville Mill Park was a recommendation, so we heard you. We're doing that this year. I would like to get down to Mount Cuba. I am a guy that runs a native plant group that's never been to Mount Cuba. So, I have to make my pilgrimage and pay my respects at some point. It's probably going to be this year. That'll be on a weekend, and I will certainly let people know when I'm going and invite anybody that wants to join me. Make it as fun and local as possible. That's certainly the intent. Comments to share with the board, and this was meant for the board. We don't look for pats on the back, but we would certainly welcome. It's nice to hear that people appreciate what we do. So I shout out to the board and everybody that helps us here. Says you are doing a good job. The newsletter is excellent with many informative articles. I could not agree more. Susan does an amazing job with the newsletter. I am honored to be able to hit the send button, which is my contribution. But she does the lion's share of the work for the newsletters every month. And, I see accolades not only through this survey, but through other people sharing it on Facebook and saying that they love our newsletter. Maintain good communication. We really admire and appreciate the work you're all doing. You guys and gals are awesome. I appreciate your hard work. This is a wonderful group. I've learned a lot so far. Thank you so much for your commitment,
Loki.
enthusiasm, and work.
Are you okay?
Keep strong, carry on Doug Talaby's vision. I haven't been able to participate as much as I would like due to heavy workload. I hope it eases up in the next few years and I will be able to join more actively. Thank you for all you do. And I think that's a great way to kind of wrap it up, is to thank the board and thank the members and thank everybody for all that you guys do.
Rick, before we go, the extraordinary caterpillar is March 12th.
12th. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I don't know why I had the 10th. I thought I pulled it from the board minutes, but okay. March 12th it is.
Thanks, Denise, for setting that up. Oops. Oh, gee.
Yeah. now I got to figure out how to run it. So we'll figure. I'll work on the technical side of things. But Denise got us all set up with the permissions and the link, and we should be good to go. I will get an email out in the next 2 weeks, sending out to members, talking about how we're going to handle it. So that's it. That is the end of the formal presentation. 70 minutes. I appreciate everybody's time. If anybody wants to just hang out and talk about native plants and what's going on in their garden, we certainly welcome that. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut the recording off. So thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Rick, for running things as always. Much appreciated.
Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Yes, those photographs are awesome.
There was so much, there was so much stuff in there, in both of them. It was really great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marilyn, you contributed with pictures. Thanks.
I found some, but I
Yeah,
wasn't
everybody
quite
sent
sure. I wasn't
pictures.
sure what the asters were, which ones. I have
Oh, I know.
I have so many different kinds growing.
Nice.
Just, I didn't plant any of them. They're just there, and they're wonderful.
Oh, that's nice. They seeded in.
Oh my gosh, I have
Very good.
so many different kinds.
Oh, where did they come from? I wonder. Your neighbors?
No, I mean they're natural. I mean the birds, the bees. I have heath asters, and the blue ones are the ones I have the most of. But and different times of the fall, of the summer, fall, do they start blooming? So they're wonderful.
Were all your photos from Maine, Marilyn? I was wondering as I was
Most of
looking.
them were, especially the ones with the critters on them. But a
Mm.
couple of them were from Newtown Square.
Okay.
But most of them, you're right, most of them were from Maine. And I wonder, is it easier to grow asters in Maine?
I know they like it up there. The summers aren't too hot and they don't care about the cold winters,
And
which is good.
I bet you I have at least 5 or 6 different kinds of goldenrod. And it's been fun trying to figure out which ones are which.
Yeah, goldenrod too. That
Yeah.
doesn't care about snow or anything. It'll grow anywhere.
I also think there's less invasives up there that are competing for the
I can't
space.
hear you.
I think you're right, Rick. Southeastern Pennsylvania is a mecca of invasive plants. There was a really interesting presentation from Penn State Extension on invasive plants and animals and how they're spreading. And Southeastern Pennsylvania is just a hot spot. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Do we know why?
It's a combination of climate. We've got a lot of heat, a fair amount of wet, not too much cold. It's just, and I think the traffic too, the Port of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a historic port. Some of these species take decades to get established to the level where we start to see them as invasive. And the Port of Philadelphia has been an entry for plants and everything since the beginning.
Critters too. I mean,
Right. Everything that comes with the plants and on ships. Right. Insects in the ballast. Absolutely. In the soil around the ballast soil and the rocks. Insects, fungi.
Is anyone coming up with a plan for pruning anything? I have so many young trees and shrubs that are now in their like 5th, 6th year that are I've got to stay on top of pruning them if I want them to be
now is the time. I mean,
worthy.
Today I was just talking with the people at Brandywine on Tuesday, and now is the best time to do it.
Yeah, and I want to be out there, but now, well, one, I still have snow on the ground, and where I don't have snow, it's so sloppy that I worry about all of the compaction. And because I have so many things planted in all of those layers, it's really hard to safely get to where I can prune something. If I can't see the ground, I don't want to be stepping on other things. So it's tricky.
I think it's better to do it now when the ground is still frozen. Once the ground level thaws, then you're right. You don't want to be compacting that soil because it has to re-level itself from the expansion of the moisture. Now, while it's frozen, I think I would not mind going out and doing it.
Where snow is not, my ground is sloppy muddy.
It's mud. I know.
I bet you it's only the top couple of inches that's sloppy. I bet it's frozen underneath that.
We have New England mud. It's
There's
true.
the Growing Greener podcast, if you've ever heard of that, by Thomas Christopher. Growing Greener. The episode this week was with an arborist. He's actually the husband of Rebecca McMacken, and he had an excellent presentation on pruning. And his answer was, it depends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
Because
right.
if it's fruiting, it's one time. If it's flowering, you prune after it flower, so it was all over the place. So yeah,
Yeah.
but it was a
And I
great
have all of
episode.
that. So yeah, I'll have to look into that. I don't feel like the perfect conditions have happened yet, and they won't. They're not going to happen. I'm just going to end up getting out there and, doing it. But I was wondering what other people's plans were.
If you have a ladder spreading over the space and you climb up the ladder, then you're only putting pressure on a couple of areas rather than walking all over it.
Right. And I think that most of the things that I have to prune are they're not tall enough to need a ladder.
Mhm.
It's just my understory, all of my ground layers. I don't have empty space, so I just have to. My plan is to wait until I can at least see the ground to see what I'm stepping on to make better choices. Right.
Probably smart. Yeah.
Supposed to snow on Sunday.
Oh, hush. Oh, God.
Right. We don't want to hear it. You can walk on the snow, Jesse, once it snows.
Right.
I have a little thing to tell you about. If you're on Facebook at all, I have a page called Designing with Natives.
Okay.
If you're interested, I try to put all different interesting things on there. And I do take a lot of pictures in that native plant garden. And I do it in winter and I do it in fall and spring and summer. So if you're interested, you can go back.
Great. Designing with natives?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Is it a group, Cindy?
Yeah, no, I'm the only one that can post on it.
Okay.
You can ask me questions, but you can't post on it. So I'm not sure exactly how it's set up. Somebody else set it up and nobody else posts on it but me. So it was set up by a group for it's called Keystone Conservation. And I took a course in what is it called? Conservation design. So the people that started that, they set it up, but none of them go on Facebook. So I'm the only one that does it. So, but I have a lot to, put on there. I try to put something on there,
Yeah,
once a week at least. What would you say? You have a
I don't think it was intended for us.
No, I
Oh,
don't think so.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, no, Cindy, I'll definitely take a look and see if I can find it. If I can't find it, I might reach out to you and say,
Oh yeah, no, you can go on it. You can
Okay.
go on it and you can follow it if you want.
Rick, I was sitting here like rocking back and forth when you were talking about the shagbark hickory because I just can't wait for nuts, and I only have like 35 more years now.
Ah, rats. That's true.
I was so excited I got my first filbert this year. Like one filbert on my tree, so I was thrilled with that.
They're so exciting. So now you got your first filbert this year. So in approximately 3.5 years, the squirrels will take your filbert all over the place, and you will find them in places you didn't think that squirrels would put filberts. But apparently walkways are really great to plant filberts in. There must be like, I don't know, less things to dig through. And right under other things that you just planted, they'll decide that's also a good spot. So you'll get lots more.
Well, this feels nice and loose there where I'm just playing.
You didn't mention willows, and there are some small willows and also some ground covering willows that have support. They're like the third best support of pollinators.
So yeah, I mean, there was a couple of native trees that I really wanted to hit, and I just ran out of time. And one of them, based on Jesse's suggestion, was the native pussy willows, right? Which
Oh,
would
They're so
certainly
much
right.
fun too,
Oh, right.
and really early. They're
right.
very early.
Yeah,
Forgot
well, they
about
have their
that.
little white fluffies
Yeah.
on right now.
Yep. And
Thanks for
then one that
reminding
I
me.
just love, and I'm fearful that we're going to lose it, is the American beech, right? So, I mean, it's a
Oh,
beautiful understory plant that just
Right
really
now you
stands
see all the
out this time
leaves.
of year.
They're really
Yep.
beautiful. Right. Yeah.
And it's just gentle looking and like golden and delicate looking, and there's a hazard coming for it. 'Cause-
mm,
so American, what is it? American beech disease? Is that what it's called?
beach leaf.
Yeah, there's a wilt that
Yeah.
The
affects
Yeah.
wilt.
the leaves. It's not nice. I noticed, I didn't, even before I knew that it was here, I noticed it. And then I found out what it
Oh,
was. It was just not nice.
Yeah.
is it
It's
killing your beach?
No, this was up in Maine and I saw a
Oh,
whole row, a road I was
Mm.
driving down. I said, what's wrong with these trees? This was like it must have been June or July. And then I found out later that's what it was. It's a leaf wilt that
between that.
it doesn't I don't know much about it. I can't tell you anything about it, but it was very obvious that it was there.
Ouch. Between the ashes and now the oak, what is that stuff, Jesse, that's getting red oaks?
The leaf scorch,
Or oak leaf
bacterial leaf
scorch.
scorch.
Right. And now beech wilt. What's going to be left in our forests?
Willows.
And all
Yeah.
the invasives.
Right.
And all the
Yep.
invasives. Ouch. That
Bush
hurts.
honeysuckle. That's what's going to be burning bush honeysuckle,
Oh.
Japanese barberry. That's what's going to be left if we don't.
Bittersweet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Bittersweet.
So,
It's beach leaf disease is what it's called.
Yeah.
And it
It,
makes
it
like
gets at the vascular part of the leaf.
yeah, it looks like stripes on it, kind of. You can tell
Oh.
that, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So
transmitted
it-
Apparently
by
it's caused by a nematode.
nematodes.
yeah,
Yep.
it
Mhm.
is. And you can treat it, but it's a lot of work to treat it because beaches get really big. It takes a lot of,
Where'd it come from? Is it Asian?
I don't know.
How do we get these things? The ship
I
and stuff.
it just showed up at the park, like one of the parks in my township. It just showed up there this year.
What township are
Oh.
you in?
Upper Dublin.
I haven't seen any here, but I did have it. We do have it in Maine.
Well, I have a lot of beech trees in my yard, big ones, and I'm really very nervous about it.
And the woods are full of beech,
Yeah.
right? Just the woods on along the turnpike. I always notice the beech. They're so pretty and they're so distinctive in winter.
Especially
Um,
now. I mean, they're
with the
beautiful
leaves.
now. And I
Yeah.
haven't noticed a problem here where I am, but in Maine it was a problem.
Ouch. Well, I'm sure we'll get it then. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Cindy, I
On a
did find
lighter
your
note,
Facebook
What's
site.
that?
I did find your Facebook site. I'm going
Oh,
to share
good.
my screen so that people can see what it looks like. This is it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at
I
that
love
snow.
that
beautiful
photo.
photo. Wow.
Yeah,
That's my backyard.
That is a beautiful
No kidding.
picture.
That is beautiful.
that is
Even though
beautiful.
we don't like the snow, it's a
But-
beautiful picture.
I mean, that part of the snow is nice.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that
Snow in
snow
someone
for
else's
24 hours, and then
Right.
it's the third week of it that I tend to get a little tired of it. And listen,
Right.
I don't even mind new snow. Like I just want to see the ugly, dirty snow go away before we get new snow.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, well I'm following you, Cindy.
All right. Yeah, go
Thanks
down.
for mentioning that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I have every single kind of aster you can think of in that garden. And I think 13 different kinds of goldenrod.
You must
So,
not have deer.
oh yeah, we got deer. They
What-
rubbed all they rubbed all the they eat the asters, but they
Yeah.
weird. They go in cycles. So the asters are so prolific that if you get them going, they ate them all the way down to the ground and they still flowered.
Oh, wow.
So if you get them
Okay.
going, they'll reseed and
Mhm.
then you'll still have them. I have them in places I don't want them, but and they spread all around the park that I'm working in. So it's wonderful. But yeah, they're very prolific.
That would be nice. They eat my blue woodland and my white woodland so much that I hardly have any. And I
Oh,
love those
really?
two. Yeah, I love blue wood and white wood.
Oh,
The
I
deer
have
just get
them.
them.
I have deer, but they don't eat them.
I
I
think those,
forget.
go ahead.
Sorry, Susan. I
Yeah.
forget his presentation, but like they told us like the whitewood and the bluewood, like they're not super cat like
Tasty.
they don't support a whole lot of
Oh,
lepidoptera.
cats.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
that's too
just
bad.
surprised because they're my favorites as well, right? I love blue and white as
But
well. And I
they, but they, they do support a lot of bees and
okay.
pollinate. So
Yep.
you can't just look at
Look at caterpillars.
caterpillars. There's so many other insects that are critical for pollination.
Don't
So, I
know
mean,
anything about Bobex.
what
Oh,
is
the deer preventer. No, I haven't tried it.
Apparently they're using that a lot at Brandywine, and it smells
Oh.
really bad. It's totally organic. It's it'll last depending on the whether it's winter or spring. It lasts for several weeks. I mean, it would only work with a small area, but it does protect. And I used it up in Maine, and it's good.
how do you
But
spell that?
Bobex.
Bobex, I think, or
Yep.
two
Two
B's,
B's in the middle.
Bobbex.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
But it's totally organic, and it's made of rotten eggs or something.
Okay.
Right. Rotten eggs,
The
garlic,
smell doesn't
rosemary.
last that long, but
Mm.
it bothers the deer a lot.
Hmm.
And that's what they're using at Brandywine. So,
Okay.
and they have deer.
Probably a good thing to use this time of year because now is when the deer are really hungry and they will destroy anything to eat
Right.
just to live. Once spring is past, they don't attack quite so
Well,
much
once
stuff.
spring is passed, they take down the fences around here. It's interesting
The
because
deer fencing?
yeah, they take them down.
I
And
can't do
I
that.
live right next to a park, so I mean, they
Wow.
yeah, and I have deer right in my backyard right now. I mean, I could go out there and say hi to five or
Oh,
six.
every night, every
Right,
single night. They
right.
paw the snow away in my meadow so they can eat whatever they're eating in there. They cleared the snow well before it melted. Yep, they're just awful.
Hmm.
They're hungry.
Yeah, well, they need to be hungry. They don't need to eat my plants. They need to leave me more plants. Yeah, it's just not reasonable. They've got the entire cornfield down the street and all the woods across the street. They should stay there.
I feel bad for anything this time. Like I said, I didn't see anything moving for 3 weeks when it was just so bitter cold. And
I saw a chipmunk this afternoon for the first time in about
Oh,
a month.
really,
Yeah.
I had at least 15 deer in my driveway the other day.
Driveway. Oh my gosh.
They were walking through. I don't know what they were doing, but I couldn't believe it.
looking for handouts,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
whatever they
Yeah.
can get a hold of.
Yeah, I can imagine they're starving. It's just been the worst winter for them.
It's been really bitter.
They
True.
were around my planters. That's what it was.
Oh,
Oh,
looking for things that are going to thaw off quickly.
Maybe.
Right. Well, I hope they didn't get anything.
My planters were really bad anyway, so I don't care.
You'll do them again
you
next
have
year, right?
you have
Or
a
this
new
year.
opportunity now to start fresh, right?
Right. Well, I had shoulder surgery, so I didn't do them for the holidays. So it was fall. It was mums. So
Oh, they'll
I've
eat
had
those.
it.
You're right.
Right.
yeah, I don't care about that.
They'll eat those anyway.
So Richard, you mentioned about the worms, and I was thinking earlier that if I mean, sometimes I have I could do a plant swap then when I don't have a seed swap. But if you're worried about the worms, then that's not a good idea, right?
That's right.
Well,
Yep.
in Western Pennsylvania, they have a big one, and they just take the plants the day of the swap and just wash all the soil off of them. And
So they're
that,
bare root.
And then you
Yeah.
start off with your own, with clean soil,
yeah,
sterile soil.
yeah. And some people
That's a
just
good
bring
idea.
a bag of soil with them.
That's a really good idea.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
that's
You're
something
not-
to consider. How long have the worms been a problem? Do you know?
Mm, maybe 5 years, something
Yeah,
like
they're
It
that.
just
hasn't been all
spreading.
that long, has it?
No, I don't think so.
And they're not everywhere, right? Like they're
No.
like, but if you have them, you have them. Most people, and like I said,
They are very active.
yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at them and they look like the regular earthworms, but they're flapping around, and I definitely have that coffee looking
I think
dirt
that's
in some
probably it.
places.
And you're
Okay.
further south. Don't they have more further south?
I don't
Oh
know.
no, they're in upstate New York.
Oh, really? Oh, I
They're in
didn't.
zone 5. Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Because they're annuals. They just lay their little eggs and then die. So
so
they
they
don't
don't
need to
care about the
overwinter.
winter.
Right, the adults don't need to overwinter. So I'm not even sure where they started or whether they spread south or north but I know they're in the north. Denise, I didn't know you had them down there.
I think I do. I need to
Okay.
catch one and take it to the extension agent. I mean, Rick, you
Oh,
said
there
it
you
would be
go.
easy to tell, but I can't.
Uh,
No,
well,
I,
you know what? If it squirms around a lot, it probably is because they're a lot different than night crawlers, from what I've heard.
the
Yeah.
juveniles are a lot tougher to tell because they don't get that like white clitellum
Oh, okay.
around. It's when they get older that they get that white and it's smooth. There's no ridge to it. It's the
Okay.
same width as the rest of the body.
What are you supposed to do when you find them?
Smush them with a shovel, cut them up.
Yep. I've heard people throwing them into vinegar to just kind
Oh,
of.
chickens. Your chickens will eat them.
Oh, chickens will eat them. Yep.
Yeah. But you have to
Um,
make sure the chickens actually eat them and don't just, leave them for something else or play with them. Your cat would play with them, yes.
Would the chickens poop the eggs out though?
Oh,
That's
Well,
a good point. Yeah,
I
the
don't
eggs
know. I mean, I would.
eggs will be there.
the eggs aren't viable in the animal not until or the worm, not until they lay it in the ground. Is it fertilized?
Okay.
So inside the worm, the eggs are not a problem.
Okay.
From what I've read.
Okay.
and
At
they do
least.
reproduce asexually, so one can turn into
Yeah.
many quite easily.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I would think the chicken's digestive enzymes would take care of the eggs anyway, because most digestive enzymes do. Not seeds, of course, but live, like eggs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I put a link in the chat to Basil Camus' book. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
listened last night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he has this book, an ebook. You can download a PDF for free, and it seemed like it was really interesting.
How was the
I-
presentation last night? Did anybody else?
What?
I did.
I haven't
Yeah,
looked. I haven't looked at it, but yeah, it's there. It's right there for free.
Wow,
I
that's
told
Yeah,
you
it doesn't
right?
download. At least it didn't download right on mine. It was only a quarter of the page and really hard to read.
Um,
But
Oh, I haven't looked at it yet.
right, try it. It may work on your machine. I had trouble getting it
Okay.
to download as a reasonable document.
I've been taking the Penn State classes that are free,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and they're pretty good if you can swing it. I mean, they're usually at lunchtime, so if you're working, you might be able to do it then. But that was the one I took.
I haven't seen
I
ones that
took
are
the
free.
invasive one. The invasive one. Didn't you say you went to the invasive one? No.
Yes. There was.
It was a couple, like a week or two ago.
It was a lecture from a Swiss scientist, that one, about invasive plants moving around the globe. I did attend
I
that one.
saw that one, but this was a different one.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
They have some good ones.
yeah. And you might be able to just go online and get them. I mean, some of them you have to pay for. Like,
Yeah, I think you're right that some of them they have afterwards, they have available.
Yes, they do.
I think the one from the Swiss scientist is available online.
Yeah,
That was
that was
pretty
like the
dense.
beginning of January or something.
Virginia that has seminars, webinars also. It's ecological. Wait a minute, see if I can find it.
Is
And
it
they talk a lot about in the invasives and I'll try. I'll give it to Susan and she can put it in the newsletter.
Blue Ridge Prism? Is it?
Prism.
Blue Ridge Prism.
Mhm.
That's the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
they have some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a group in Maryland that has a every week they come up. Sarah. Phew, why can't I remember these things?
I don't know
Nuts for
that one.
Natives. Have you ever heard of Nuts for Natives?
No.
No.
She has a lot of really good and for this is for more southern Pennsylvania or Maryland, and it's a whole lot of stuff going on in Maryland and a lot of good design thoughts. And it's called Nuts for Natives, and her name is Sherry. And I'm sure if you Googled it, you could find it, or if you
Okay.
went online, you could find it.
Oh, Ohio State has some too.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I like
Yeah.
theirs. Yeah.
A
Their
couple
series are
years
good.
ago, they had them like once a month or maybe once every
Really?
couple of weeks. And
Mm-hmm.
Doug Tallamy was one of them, but there was
Yep.
some scientists that were so fascinating.
The
His
bees. Yeah.
new book on what can I do, Doug Tallamy's new book is spectacular.
Oh, really?
What can I do? Is that the name of it? But it's his newest one, and it's just really good. I'm yeah. It answers all sorts of questions. He has 499 questions that he answers.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
What can I do
I'm
to
looking.
help? What can I do to help? Is how can I help is the name of it.
I'm looking at the Nuts for Native site. That looks really interesting, Marilyn. Thank you.
And she comes, it's every weekend, I think, or every Thursday. And all the archives are pretty interesting. You can go way back there. And what's the name of the lady? Wait a minute. Um, the native plant, the lady that wrote the one that says plant this and not that.
Oh,
Humane
you're not
Gardener. Humane Gardener. She has a really
right.
good
Nancy, I don't remember her last name.
Lawson.
Lawson.
Nancy Lawson. Thank you. Yep.
She's
Yes,
really
she's
good.
good. I haven't heard from her in a while, though. I don't know where her postings show up, but
Well, if you go, you can go on Humane Gardener and get her past postings, and I agree with you. I don't think she's done anything recently.
yeah, I haven't seen it.
I
Well,
also
I
haven't
just,
I haven't been able to find any workshops from the Ohio State Bee Lab recently. I don't know whether they're didn't get grant funding
Maybe.
or whether
yeah.
I'm just not finding it. But
Yeah, they might have just done that once, you know. I don't know.
yeah, because that was a good one.
Yeah, that was really good.
Remember the bumblebee one they had? What did they
Yeah.
call it? What do bees want or something like that? Where you had to go out and take pictures of what the bumblebees were doing, and then they did all this research about which flowers they preferred. That was cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's
I see the bee lab.
there's a lady that comes, she's in my gardening group. She comes and looks at all the bees in my garden. She studies bees.
And
Oh, good.
she knows them all, right?
No, they're very specialized.
Oh, it's called Ask a Bumblebee. That's what it was called. And I don't see, you're right, I don't see any workshops right now. There are recordings, but not any new workshops. Well, like you said, it might have been a funding thing.
Well, it might not be, they might, I think they were like in March and April, so maybe they're not going to do it. I don't know.
No, I don't see it this year.
There's another guy named Sam Droge. Do you know
He
him?
was at Ohio State, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
And I haven't seen his workshops anyway.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah,
yeah.
he was good.
And what's that guy's name?
I'm gonna
The guy
have to
Arn,
that's
leave
doing
you guys. I'm going to leave you guys.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
Bye,
Marilyn, I think we're
Marilyn.
wrapping up
Thank you. This
anyway.
was
So
great. I really, really thank you, Denise, for getting me back online.
Oh, you're welcome. You reminded me.
Oh, Marilyn, didn't you get my email? I sent you that link. Oh, she's gone. Somebody always has to email in at 10 minutes after 7 and say, "What's the link?" And so I watch. This time it was Marilyn. All right, guys, I'm going to
All
sign
right.
off too. Good
Me
night,
too.
everybody.
Good
Good night,
night.
everybody. Thanks for joining.
Thank
Feel
you, Rick, for
nice.
running
Thank
it. I
you.
appreciate it.
Good night.
It was
Bye-bye.
great.
Bye, Catherine.
Hi. Hey, Richard, before you close,
Yes.
I got two red osier dogwoods last year, and they both look like they are not going to make it. So I might be a taker for some of your live
Please,
steaks.
I'm gonna have a ton of them. So, however many you want. Do you have my email address?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Just
I can't remember, where are you located?
Plymouth meeting?
Plymouth. Yeah, I'm close.
Yeah.
I'm Horsham. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like a mile from the Plymouth Meeting Mall, but I'll be glad
Yeah.
to. I'll save them for you if you want, or they're best fresh cut, but I'll let you know right
Right.
before I'm planting them, or right
Cool.
before I'm cutting them.
Thanks.
You got it. Thank you. Bye bye,
Night.
Catherine. Bye bye.